Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out People of Reddit. Story 1. I made a scarf for my friend's ex. This is a long story, so apologizing in advance. My 26F son, 5M, has a best friend, 5M, that he has been wanting to hang out with since school started. I got his mom's 32F number and we hung out. A couple days later, my son's friend's dad, 32M, waited for me after picking up his kids so he could give me his number. For the sake of ease of reading, my son will be J, his friend will be A, his friend's mom will be M and his friend's dad will be C. My husband, 33M, will be D. The parents of my child's friend are in the process of getting divorced. It was a little weird, but I decided to go for it. He had his kid half the time, so I figured it wouldn't hurt to set up some play dates with him. Last Ved Day, I had asked M if she would like to go see Paw Patrol with us on Friday. She informed me that she had a date, so suggested I arrange this movie seeing with C. I texted C and asked if he would bring A to the movies so A and J could watch a movie together. C agreed to watch the movie. I ended up sitting between C and D, and the kids sat in the row in front of us. There was a seat between myself and C. C kept trying to grab my hand. Later that night, C asked me if I thought he was creepy, and he apologized for the Han thing. I figured it was a one-time thing. It wasn't. He kept trying to touch me when we had playdates. He even said that our kids were already like brothers. He asked me to pick him, even though I am very much in love with my husband. C even said, I don't want to ruin this, but I think I'm falling in love with you. Crazy, right? We've only known each other for 2 weeks. Anyway, he asked me to make him a scarf. I am scared of men who come on that strong, so I agreed, if only to avoid anything bad. I hung out with M today and we decided to do something that I believe is very petty. C absolutely hates bright colors, according to M. He also doesn't like his scarves to be fluffy, or to have holes in them. So of course we went to our local craft store and purchased some roving yarn, so it's super thick and fluffy. Then we got another yarn that was kind of scratchy. And I got a giant crochet hook specifically for this scarf. I crocheted a linen stitch, which, when crocheted with a giant hook, makes FO very holy scarves. So this scarf is about 4 feet long without extremely bright tassels on the ends of the scarf. Those tassels are a little over a foot long. Just for fun, I've tried on the scarf and it is definitely not a comfy scarf. I'm planning on giving the scarf to C tomorrow when we pick up our kids. D will be there with me, pretending to be on his phone, but recording the interaction so we can show M because she wanted to see his reaction. We have also agreed that if C complains to M about the scarf, she will say, it looks like she put a lot of effort into the scarf. The least you could do is wear it. There is some extra yarn from the second skein of yarn that M is going to turn into a headband for A, and she's going to line it with fleece so the yarn won't bother A. And she's going to tell A that the headband matches the scarf that C has. A loves to wear things that match C, so that will be fun. I'm excited. I haven't really had the opportunity to do something petty like this before. Update. He liked the scarf. I handed it to him, and he tried to hand it back at first, but then I told him the scarf was for him. He said he liked the colors and the tassels. He tried the scarf on and said he loved it. Story 2. Fuck your keys. I'm somewhere downtown with my GF at the time and a friend when I see a lady going through her purse as a set of keys falls out and she begins walking off. I grab the keys and say, "Miss, you dropped these." She spins around and says, "Fuck off, creep." Before she even sees me, my GF laughs and goes, "Oh boy," because she knows something stupid is about to happen. The lady's posse of what I can only describe as frogs in skirts with too much makeup, jump in and start yelling at me, calling me random names, etc. Meanwhile, I'm just here looking at them like they got dicks growing out their foreheads. I hold up the keys and say, "You dropped these." The lady makes an annoyed sound and says, "Give me my fucking keys, asshole," and tries to snatch them, Nope. I take a couple steps back to where the drain is, drop and kick them right into a satisfying plop. The lady's face is disbelief before rage, and before she has time to fully process everything I say next time try saying thank you. Then walked off as they went ballistic behind me. The memory of their screams still help me sleep at night. Edit not sure if this was in Cali or NC, so I removed the city. Story 3. Steal my credit card information, I cancel my plane trip. Backstory. I went to a local car rental place and rented a car for the day. I provided my credit card to the person behind the desk and gave them my email. I went on about my day. The next day I discovered after I returned the car, that someone had used my credit card to purchase $800 in plane tickets. Credit card company put a hold on the charges and sent me a message asking if it was me or fraud. I confirmed it was fraud. Now today, I found emails about these plane tickets and check-in times with a name and phone number in my email. The same email address I provided to the car rental place. I discovered the person had already left South America and was in Europe for a week on my dime. Now petty revenge time. I went online to the airline the person was using and contacted the customer service. I provided the information from the tickets and said I wanted to cancel my return flights. The agent sounded concerned and told me I would not get a refund. I said that was fine and they could keep the money, I just wanted to cancel the flights that I had paid for. The agent paused for a long minute and said the ticket was cancelled. I hung up and could not help but laugh about this. I hope next time this person will think twice before using stolen card information. Edit. The credit card was immediately cancelled. I'm not sure how the person got the tickets after the charges were declined. It was done through an airline outside the US. Story 4. Fire me for doing the right thing and giving 2 weeks notice, game on. I have a work-related rant I want to get off my chest, but 1. Can't find the right sub, and 2. I think my boss is regularly on Reddit, so I'll just tell this story. Backstory. A long time ago I was a tech in a dealer far away. One of my tech friends had recently left to go to another dealer, very common in the industry if you aren't aware, and had convinced the owner of that dealer to try to get me to come to work there as well. I had already turned down 2 or 3 offers from the other dealer, and finally after a face-to-face with the owner I had made a wage demand I knew they would not meet. As expected, he didn't meet my demands and I simply left it at, if you're willing to pay me XX, I'll come work for you, and we parted ways with the stipulation that he wouldn't call me again unless he was willing to meet my asking pay. Meanwhile I was due to go to manufacturer-provided technical training. While training is technically free, there is a cost to the dealer since the tech has to still be paid even though I wasn't working, as well as transportation and lodging/meals. Before I left, my boss asked me what was going on with the other dealer since he wasn't going to send me to training if I was leaving. I had not left it a secret that I was being courted by another dealer. I told him the full story including my asking wage, to which we both agreed they would never pay. I flat out told my boss that if they made that offer I would give him the opportunity to match it, but if he didn't I would leave. Let's just say it would have been a significant raise to above the going market wage. He agreed and I went off to training. While at training, the owner of the other dealer called. He offered me more dollar than I asked for. I finished the training, recirculating ball steering systems, which are pretty much extant now by the way, and went home Friday afternoon. Monday morning I walked into my boss's office. As we agreed, I told him about the offer and gave him the opportunity to meet it or even come close. Instead, he freaked out, started screaming like a petulant child, and fired me. Now, before I had left for training, I had taken apart a cylinder head from a double overhead chem engine, which were still fairly new, to this manufacturer at least, and had neatly arranged all the parts atop my toolbox. Now I just got fired. I had to get my toolbox out of the shop. And it was covered in neatly arranged engine parts. I drug over the nearest trash can and raked all that shit into it. The poor sucker that ended up with that job called me several times. Hey man, where is XXX part? If it ain't in the trash can I can't help you bro. Apparently before my boss realized what I had done, the cleaning crew had emptied all the trash cans into the dumpster. Edit. I didn't expect this level of response. Let me clarify. I was happy where I was making X. A dealer I really didn't want to work for was trying to hire me and I really wasn't interested, so I told them I wanted X plus 10. Don't get hung up on the number, this is just an example. My boss was aware of the potential offer. That dealer offered me X plus 15 instead. This was money I really couldn't afford to turn down at that point. When given the chance to give me a raise enough to make it worth my while to stay, my boss freaked out and fired me. I was pissed and not thinking about the customer or their engine at that point. I had to clean off and move my toolbox. The trash can was the closest thing I saw. The trash got emptied overnight so that car and its torn-apart engine was ignored for at least a day. Obviously none of the other techs wanted to take over that job. As far as the customer or the other tech, the customer had to drive the loaner car for a while longer. Their car was a bottom-of-the-barrel budget POS, so they were likely driving something nicer than what they were making a payment on, and fuel was dirt cheap back then. If I remember correctly, I didn't get paid for that job at all, so the other tech got paid the full flat rate for the job. I'm sure he didn't look too hard for the missing parts and just ordered new replacements at the dealer's expense as they were discovered to be missing. It's one of those situations where you might not notice something missing until you get to the point in reassembly where you need it and can't find it. Story 5. My uncle learns to shut up. This is actually my mom's story, but I've gotten confirmation from both sides that this happened and that my uncle did indeed learn his lesson. When I was still a baby, we were visiting my paternal grandmother's house. A bunch of my family lived there. My aunt, her husband, my grandmother, my uncle, Dad's brother, and at least a couple of cousins. So my mom is sitting at the big dining room table eating breakfast and breastfeeding me. My uncle makes some bullshit crack about her feeding me and my mom whips her teat out of my mouth and uses it to squirt my uncle, her brother-in-law, in the face with breast milk. My grandmother nods approvingly as my uncle is stuttering, then says, "Well, you heard the woman, shut up." Side note, this is the same grandmother who once backhand chucked a coffee mug at the head of a different one of my uncles for taking money out of her purse to replace the weed of his sheet flushed. She really didn't take shit from anyone. Edit for spelling. Story 6. Petty Lost and Found. Back when I was a kid, if someone annoyed me and left something behind in class, say AirPods, a phone, pencil case, etc., I would grab it and return it to lost property without telling them. For the rest of the day I'd revel I'm there freaking out, and running around blaming everyone under the sun for stealing whatever item it was. All while knowing where it was. I'd wait till the end of the day, for these dumbasses who'd always forget lost property was a thing to lose hope, and then I'd say, "Have you checked lost and found?" They were always so appreciative. Best legal petty way to get back at someone. After all you're doing is returning some lost property. Edit. Anyone else do this? It feels like it'd be a pretty common tactic. I'm keen to hear similar stories. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.